I think it will end up being a nice, like full body, actually very challenging class with a more specific focus. So as far as cars go, we're still going to go top to bottom. We'll do our everything standing except for knees and ankles. So we're going to start with those feet nice and wide. We're going to squeeze our quads, squeeze our glutes. The only thing you will need over the whole class should just be a step of some sort. So you may have to travel to do the last part of the whole class. Okay. Right, we're going to squeeze our fists. We're going to, one by one, crank that chin down to that collarbone. Scrape that left collarbone. Tilt back, find that left armpit. Up and over the top to the right. Tilt forward. Come back to center. And reverse. Right collarbone. Over and back. Remember, as always, we're looking for a pain-free range of motion. Tuning in to every square inch of these cars, trying to reach for a little bit more every time. Tilt forward, straight back to center. One last time to the right. Keeping that rib cage down, keeping shoulders away from our ears, and a nice long spine. Good. So from here, we are onto our spine. We're going to give ourselves a nice big hug. So you can reach all the way back to the shoulder blades. If that works, great. If it doesn't work, we'll just give this one. So with this, we want to create a little bit more tension with our arms, giving ourselves that big hug, still keeping the wide base. So our feet are well outside of our hips. We're going to slowly flex one vertebrae at a time. What I want you to try to think about is almost like bringing your rib cage to your waistband. So instead of here, where my butt starts to kind of run away from my rib cage, want to try to get your rib cage to meet your waistband. You should feel a stretch all the way down to right around low back. From here, we're going to pull the elbows across our body, trying to point your elbows just outside of your left foot. From there, scrape those elbows up the wall, all the way to the ceiling, across the ceiling to the right, down that right side of the wall, just outside of the right foot, and rotate back to center. So throughout all of that, you're making sure that our hips aren't swimming around, that we are in concrete from the waist down. Let's go back to the right, point the elbows to the right, side bend into the right, extend back, keep those abs tight. As you get up over the top, we're extending that spine as long as we can all the way to the left. Tilt just outside of the left leg, around into center. One last time, try to see if you can make this a little bit bigger without getting the hips involved. Pockets are square the whole time. And reverse. All the way over, all the way up, 1 mile an hour. See if you can feel each individual vertebrae rotating on top of the other. Whew. Okay, on to our shoulder blades. So we're going to do our shoulder blades a little differently. I know in class we've been typically doing them up here. What I want to try to do is pin them to our sides. I want you to imagine that you've got a ball pinned between your fist or your hand and the side of your leg. So as we do our shoulder blade cars, those arms are just sliding up and down, even though my shoulder blades are rotating. If you see, my hands are staying on the sides of my thighs. So at no point am I going to my back pockets or going to my front pockets, okay? You're trying to keep those abs tight. And as you go back, resist the urge to do this, right? You see how my chest is starting to push out? I want to keep those abs tight, and I want to just move my shoulder blades through the range of motion that you can. One more time, going back, okay? From there, we're going to go on to our shoulders, and we're going to do both at the same time. So this is a slight variation from what some of you have practiced. We're just trying to go through all of our upper body cars as efficiently and effectively as we can so that we can get to the lower body stuff. So 2 hands, feet wide, core is tight, abs are braced. we're gonna go, you can choose whichever hand you want, but we're opening those palms up. So palm is open, elbow pit is open, armpit is open. Drive those arms across your body as far as you can. As you come up, when I say biceps to ear, what I mean is that's the direction you're heading. That doesn't necessarily mean I need you to do this or anything funny of that variation. Go as high as you can with them together. Internally rotate. So dump the water bottles out, turn the armpits away from you. Reaching back, still, we're not flaring. So even if that means you drop the arms a little bit, drop the arms a little bit. It's totally fine. Landing, pinky forward, thumb back, palms out, and reverse. All the way around, some nice snap, crackle, and pop happening. Let's go again, one more time. All the way back, core is nice and tight, not letting those ribs fly up. As you reach back here, try to pop a beach ball between your arms. Externally rotate, opening those palms up, all the way through and around to the front. Good, we are onto our elbows. Pin those elbows to the sides, keep the sweat in your armpits. Spin, so now the elbow pit and palm are facing out. We're not letting the shoulders spin away. So as you see this, you can still see the tattoo on the outside of my arm. You're not seeing the tattoo on the inside of the arm peeking out. So if you don't have tattoos, obviously imagine that they're there or some sort of landmark. So we're opening up. The air is now being thick and heavy. We're trying to turn our pinkies to face our cheeks and our thumbs as far away from each other as we can using our elbows. Once we get to the top, spin it over as far as you can before the elbows walk out to your sides and push down. Spin it out. Again, just from the elbow pit. If you notice as you do this, you can see my elbow pit the whole time. I'm not ever hiding it away from you. As I turn in, it's changing the shape of the bicep because we're changing the head of it, but we're not actively changing the angle of the upper arm. Good, that's a good crunch. So on to wrists. We're gonna go 2 at a time again for efficiency. Tilt the pinkies towards each other. Pull the palms open to face me. Tilt the thumbs out, but only as far as they can before we start doing this, right? Because that's elbows now. And come up, palms facing you, keeping those Barbie hands the whole time. Tilt pinky side, drop down, thumb side, and up. One last time, pinky side and down, thumb side and up. Beautiful. We're gonna want something to balance. I'm gonna use the trusty assault bike here. So I'm gonna tilt this down so you can see my legs. Forgive toys and stuff that are all over the place. We've got the little ones are running around, or the littlest guy is running around all over the place today. So we're stabbing the left leg across our body as far as we can. We are coming up into that happy sack position. Remember, when I'm giving you these cues, right? I'm telling you happy sack, I'm showing you what this looks like for me. What I want you to try to do is do the task that I'm giving you. Don't worry about trying to replicate exactly what my range of motion is, because my range of motion is ultimately going to be different than every single person. Even my left hip to my right hip will be different. So once we get to your version of happy sack, we find neutral and we try to go higher. When we go higher, I'm not here. I'm just as high as I can. As I open the gate, again, I'm opening the gate as far as I can, but if you were to look, you could still check my pockets, right? There's never a point where my left pocket is now facing out and away from me. So start to raise that heel up, feel that crampy thing in the back pocket. The knee will come down as you reach back. Squeeze your glutes, come back together. We're not going to reverse today. We're just going to come back around to the front. We're resetting. We're coming back to that happy sack. Remember, it's your version. Neutral. Open the gate. If it helps, you can take that free hand and hold it on your pelvis so that you feel whether or not you are rotating and coupling that pelvis. kick back, find that hip, back to center. Good, let's switch sides. I know those were the longest hip cars ever for 2 reps. Right side coming over. Remember, again, we're not doing this, we're staying tall, pushing down through the heel, getting as tall as we can through that stance leg. Bring it up. Open. Open the gate as far as you can. Start to internally rotate. You are trying to keep the thigh up as high as you can, but ultimately you'll hit a point where the knee is going to have to come down. Reach back, find that hip. Come together. One more time, across the front. Your version of the hacky sack. Neutral. Open the gate. Make sure you can still check your pockets. Start raising that heel up to the ceiling. Kick straight back. Come together. Very nice. So now the fun starts. Now we're getting down on our butt. Got my trusty toe spreaders on for today. So we're going to start to find our knee rotation again, right? This is something everybody should be able to do. That doesn't mean everybody can do it. That just means we should be trying to work to establish this amount of rotation in our knees. That knee rotation is literally your shin bone rotating against the contacts of your femur, okay? So what I want you to try to find is a landmark on your leg or your leggings. If you've got a freckle or a seam, you want to be able to try to rotate that landmark. Because if you're looking at your foot, your brain is going to try to do foot, right? We don't want to do foot. We want to do knee. Little by little, find that rotation. Okay. So from there, we're going to go to the other side. Same thing. I'm not even going to have you do the full knee cars. I'm just having you find the rotation today. Focus on finding the 2 extremes of external rotation, which is bone rotating out and away from me. Internal rotation, which is bone trying to rotate in towards my midline or belly button. Okay. Let's do 2 more reps here. 1, 2. Okay. Now the fun part, right? The thing we all came here for, ankles. So your ankle should be able to plantar flex, which is, I think, dancer's point. It should be able to dorsiflex, which is pulling the top of the foot towards the shin and popping a balloon, an imaginary balloon right here. Okay. It should also be able to evert and invert, which is that kind of tilt this way. Arch comes up, and sorry, I almost used my knee. And arch goes down. Arch goes, arch goes up. Arch goes down. Arch goes up. Arch goes down. So as we try to draw that circle, we are passing through every aspect of that rotation, every aspect of ankle. Slow and controlled, reverse. It's okay if the toes come along for the ride for now. This is something that down the road, if you could lock the toes in and never manipulate them, that would be really amazing. But in terms of making sure that your foot functions, if your toes are wiggling, it's not the end of the world. Same thing, let's go to the other side. Point that toe, find dorsi or plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, inversion, eversion, inversion, eversion. It's like a tilt more than anything, okay? So then we're gonna do that full circle. Pass through the biggest circle that you can. And with every joint short of the spine, rotation is our fundamental movement that it should be able to have, which is why we do cars, right? Every single joint should be able to rotate through its full biggest range of motion. And it's often the thing that is limiting us from a greater range of motion. So one of the things that most people try to improve is the ability to dorsiflex, which is driving the knee as far over the toe as we can. So somebody like Donna, who ruptured her Achilles, one side is going to be able to do this very far. The other side, as soon as she starts to go forward, the heel comes up because this tissue on this side is so limited after that surgical repair. So you may see something one side to the other, but we're still going to approach it with rotation first. Okay, so the first part of our rotation is going to be here. So think about this as an inversion sprain, like every time you've ever rolled your ankle. We are trying to replicate the ankle roll position, and we're going to train in that position. So if you can put your foot like this, great. You can, this is a great position to kind of control how much we're looking for. So arch should be coming up. And if you can take that left hand, we're going to start on the right side, and you can push that ankle down and collapse into that stretch. We should feel a stretch on the outside of our ankle. We should not feel a pinch on the inside of our ankle. If you've got a stretch, fantastic. If you don't, I want you to speak up, because we can change the angle to find a really good stretch. You may need to go forward more. You may need to go out this way more. This works. Like, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but it sometimes can be hard to find a stretch. So does anybody not have a stretch right now? No? Okay. So in this position, we are working to breathe. We are relaxing. You can even, if this is still not a high enough threshold, you can stand like this. So we're still looking for that nice big stretch. If you saw the video that I did the other day, I was doing something like this, where my foot was up the ramp and I was stretching my forefoot all the way and my ankle through here. So we're going to do that too, but for this first set, we're going to do right here. I'm even going to use my heel to support in that position. We're here and we're breathing, we're relaxing. So this takes about 2 minutes for us to kind of settle into a really nice stretch. Okay. If you've ever sprained your ankles before, this could be a really, really intense stretch, which is why I had you start in that seated position, because you can kind of temper how much you pry that ankle up and over. Okay. So it's going to feel weird when we try to do Pails, but that Pails contraction, being our progressive angle, is on the outside of the ankle. So your goal is to squeeze as if you could drop the arch back towards the floor. Your job with your hand, the floor, and your other arm are to not let that happen. So as we start to squeeze the outside of the ankle, we're squeezing at, let's say 10% to start, but we can go to 20%. We can go to 40%. We can go to 60 and just squeeze and hold that. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax into that stretch. So this next time we do this, we're going to do Pails and Rails. So Pails and Rails in this. Pails, obviously, again, is squeezing again where you feel that stretch. Rails is going to be actively trying to pull your arch up even higher. So if you imagine I took the floor away, I am actively trying to pull my arch up towards my face. So don't need to worry about lifting it up like that. We're just looking, I'm just trying to demonstrate what that would look like. Okay, so we're going to do Pails again. Start to squeeze where you feel the stretch. What that might feel like is your big toe is lifting. What that might feel like is you're trying to, that pressure into the floor is increasing. You may even find yourself rocking, which you have to try to fight. Squeeze, squeeze. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Try to squeeze this side. Try to lift the arch off the ground. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Okay, that can be really intense. That could have been not that particularly hard. It depends on kind of what your ankles are more prone to doing. So from there, we're going to try to recreate the other side. So if we go to a 90-90 position, we hold that ankle and we try to bring that leg back up.
So if this doesn't feel like it's working, right? If you don't feel a stretch here, what I want you to do is grab a plate, like if you've got weight plates, if you've got a thicker book, something like that, which I can grab and I can show you. So I will use Hunter's favorite book, Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. So what I'm doing is trying to collapse my arch down towards the floor and drop my arch down, now stretching out this side of my ankle, the inside of my ankle. So the book works really well. There are tools that are specific to this. Grab. You just want something hard enough that it's not going to slide out from under your foot, and it's also not going to break as you try to create this stretch. So I've got something that I use called the blackboard. It's got Velcro, and you can change the height of the ramp to create that stretch more easily. If you've got a kettlebell, you can use that. But really, it's just even just a book here will help to create that angle for you. Anybody not able to find some version of this stretch? You can unmute yourself and tell me. You can just give me a thumbs up if everybody has found that stretch. This might feel like calf too. Standing on something. Okay, we're gonna go with it. So your pails in this position are trying to lift your arch up as if you could do this and normalize the angle of your foot. Your rails would be trying to lift the outside of your foot up and trying to increase this angle as if you were pulling it up this way. If for whatever reason this still you're struggling, you can do this and just crank with your arm. This takes a lot more upper body strength, and honestly it's really hard to do, but you can do it where you grab on the forefoot and you pull. So with that, we're going to do this, okay? We're going to do our pails. So our pails, if you're holding onto your foot, are going to be trying to peel your foot out of your hand. Ready? So I'm going to do two hands here just to create a little bit more tension. We're going to start to squeeze in the inside of the foot. Try to pull the arch up. Ramp that tension up from 10 to 20, 20 to 40. Don't let your feet win. 40 to 60. 60 to 80. And your greatest, safest effort, squeeze, 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 squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rails. Try to drop your arch down towards the floor and lift the outside of your foot. This might be a foot cramp, and that's, again, totally okay. Squeeze, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. So we're only going to do one set on that side. That one can be pretty subjective to find. But we're reestablishing some of the rotational capacities of the ankle to ensure that we've created enough rotational space on that foot, okay? So before we go on to the last big stretch of this side, we are going to go to our other ankle. So again, we could be here where we press in and really like manhandle that into position. If you've already got the book and you were able to find a stretch there, you can even do something like this, where now your big toe is up the side of the book. And this may be the biggest stretch that you can tolerate on the outside of that ankle. That's totally, totally okay. What we want to make sure we're doing is we're getting as close to that end range as we possibly can. So as you can see, it's a little different from one side to the other. One side, I'm like totally collapsed. The other side, maybe not quite so much. I have sprained my left ankle more than I've sprained my right. Okay. So if you've already found the stretch, we're already in it, we're breathing. We're looking for that big stretch out of the side of our ankles. Breathing into that stretch as best we can. So think about this with the stuff that we're doing specific to ankles in this position. Honestly, we're creating rotational space. That's number one. But number two, think about the times that you've ended up in this position by accident, right? You take a wrong step off a curb, you step on a kid's toy, step on your dog's tail, whatever it is, you plant your foot and your ankle just rolls. What we're doing is giving your body some experience in this position, giving this tissue some familiarity with absorbing force in this position, right? Your ability to absorb force is going to be the thing that mitigates the risk of injury, right? The more force you can absorb through a tissue, the less likely you are to experience force beyond that. Granted, like obviously life circumstances can be unexpected and you can end up in positions by accident. But then again, like the closer your tissue's ability is to absorb that force, the lower the intensity or the outcome of the injury will be. So instead of blowing your ankle out, you sprain something, right? You irritate the tissue, but you move it around, you keep doing your ankle cars, and you're back on your feet in a couple days or a week, rather than you blow out your ankle, you need a total repair, and you're in a boot for 6 months and have to learn to walk again. So with all of that wonderful stuff being said, let's start our pails. So in this position, if I'm here, I am trying really hard not to let my arch collapse, but I'm squeezing where I feel the stretch. So 20% to 40, 40% to 60. I am trying to pull, almost like I'm trying to scoop my pinky toe back out. 60% to 80, and hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax and let that tension wind down. You should likely be in a bigger stretch at this point. Is this really uncomfortable for anybody yet? No? Everybody's doing okay? Good. Can't help but feel like everybody's quieter today. Not that you aren't normally muted, but I usually get a little bit of commentary.
I just think the number of times that I sprained my ankle playing basketball and how much it's helped with this exercise.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to go again. 20%. Pushing that foot into the ground, or if you're on your, I'm going to adjust so I can show you. Oh, that was the thing. So I'm here, remember, and I'm fighting. 20% to 40, 40% to 60, 60%. Ooh, that's a new sensation. To 80, 80% to your greatest, safest effort. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails. Try to pull your arch up. Try to pull yourself deeper into that position. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Oh.
Yeah, right.
That's one of those give me back my ankle moments.
Yeah.
So adding in that ankle cars afterwards can be a really nice way of tuning down some of that extreme sensation. Okay, so now remember, we are trying to simulate that foot on the book, that other side sensation. So you can even, again, you can even be here, which is a half kneeling position where I've actually, dropped my arch down towards the floor. And in this case, in this half kneeling position with the foot on the book, where that's going to change the stretches, it's probably going to bring it more to the back of the ankle versus just on the side or in through the forefoot. But some of this is you have to kind of scan and learn how to find this stretch specifically. This is not one that people do a lot, especially if you've got really high arches. This is something that could be huge. The more weight you can put into this, the bigger the stretch as well, in terms of body weight or body weight plus child. Everybody's got a good stretch? Okay. So we're in a big deep breath here. We're relaxing into this. The one that we do immediately after this, you will, I won't say it'll happen guaranteed, but there's a good chance that your arch will cramp. Just as a fair warning. I had a girl in the rowing practice we were doing ankle cars and her foot cramped so bad she thought her foot was going to fall off. She was like, oh no, oh my God, it's hurt, it's hurt. And I was like, it's okay, it's okay. Put your foot on the ground, push your big toe into the ground. And she slowly started to relax. She's like, okay, I'm gonna be all right. It was a big thing. I can understand though, if you've never had a foot cramp that's like that extreme before, you're like, oh God, it's gonna come off. Okay, ready? We're gonna start to do our pails. So pushing down through pinky toe, trying to pull the arch up off the floor, 20% to 40, 40% to 60, 60% to 80, and your greatest, safest effort, squeeze. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rails. Try to pull your pinky toe off the box or off the book. Try to drive yourself deeper into that stretch. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax into that stretch, that new range of motion. Try not to come out of it right away. Let that heart rate start to come down. And then we're going to ease off of that book, block, toy, whatever you used. So the next one we're going to do is actually just a straight ankle dorsiflexion. So what we're looking for as we get into this position, you can do this kneeling, you can do it standing, but ultimately I want the knee bent as you drive over that toe. What I want is a stretch on the back side of your leg. You should feel calf, you should feel Achilles, you might even feel the arch of your foot. What I don't want is to feel like you've run out of room on the front of the foot, okay? So you want to be searching for a stretch back here. If you go too far, the heel comes up, that's too far, right? If you only find this, what I'm going to show you is a little trick that we can use, and you can do this with a wall, you can do it with a step. In this case, I've got a little wedge here, so it's just changed the angle of my toes, but now I feel a stretch right through here. So you can see the size of the thing that I used is only about like a thickness of maybe an eraser or an eraser plus. Like it's not a big rolled up thing. An easy solution, if you obviously don't have something like this or the book is sliding away, is right here. So this, imagine a wall. Forgive the dust bunnies. Toes up the wall and then go in. Okay, that should be much more extreme through the tissue back here. Okay, you can go toes up the wall. You can even do this if in a half kneeling position doesn't feel good. You can do this seated, where you just drive the knees over the toes sitting on a chair. Okay, so that you don't have to look straight at the underside of my leg / butt the entire time. I will adjust to a position here. Okay, so I've got this guy in place. I'm driving into ankle dorsiflexion, looking for that stretch on the backside. Can everybody find something on the backside of their leg? Yep. Okay. So this is our last 2-minute big stretch. Well, on this side of the foot, we got to do the other foot too. But we want those toes kind of pried up, and we want to be feeling nice big stretch here. So your pails in this position are a gas pedal. Think calf raise, right? I'm trying to do this. Your rails are going to be trying to pull the front of the shin up as high as you can. Excuse me, the front of the foot up towards the shin as high as you can. Okay, so we're breathing into this position. You can even just be up here. use the torso angle. I usually use this torso angle just to drive more weight over that foot. You can even, if you've got a kettlebell or something like that, you can grab something here to drive even more force over that front leg. Or if you've got a cat, that works too. Okay. In this position, we're breathing, we're relaxing. If you've ever had Achilles pain, if you've ever torn your Achilles, like you might want to back off of this a little bit. If you've ever had plantar fascial issues recently, you definitely want to start on the low end of your pails, okay? Because we are putting the plantar fascia on length at this point, okay? We're breathing, we're relaxing into the stretch. Calm. Nothing good here. Just have a moment of relaxation, moment of silence for the fact that you're about to crush your Achilles as hard as you can. Okay, so as that stretch starts to intensify, I want you to push. Crush your big toes into the floor. Crush all your toes into the floor. Gas pedal that foot. Squeeze where you feel the stretch. It might even feel like you're going to do a split squat off the floor. 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80. Your greatest, safest effort. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull. Pull yourself. Try to drive your knees far forward as you can before you run into that front side thing. Try to peel your toes up off the floor. Pull. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax into that stretch. I don't know about you guys, but my quad almost cracked on this side.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I felt like I was going to jump off the floor. That was intense. I'm sorry to say we're going to do this side again. Because ultimately what you're trying to get rid of is some of that, like I've talked about in other classes, your body guards, that stretch reflex that you feel when you initially go into something, is your body kind of telling you, I don't really trust you. I don't trust this position. So the 2-minute stretch allows us to hang out there and kind of give our body some sense of security. Then the first set of pails and rails, or really pails, tell your body that we're okay, that we're strong there. So it releases some of that tension and maybe even allows you access to a greater degree of freedom and a bigger stretch. This bigger stretch the second time through is really probably more likely where your tissue end range is, which is really where we want to be training. Everybody ready? 20%. Down through the floor. 40%. 60%. 80%. Your greatest, safest effort, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax. Come off of that stretch. Oh. Okay, we have to do that to the other side too. Okay, we're gonna try to get through all of that, and then I've got 2 more big things for us to do. So take a second if you need to relax for a moment and do ankle cars, just to get the blood flow back. You might be extra cracky after this, but remember, you just created a whole bunch of new space. Try to get through all of that space as you do this. But yes, it may be like really cracky. Okay, let's go ahead and do the other side. So Remember, this is the position that we're in. We're looking for the knee to go as far over the toe as we can. You don't need to go toe up if you already feel a nice big stretch on the back side. If you don't, go to the wall, use your book, something to drive that big stretch where you get it on the back side of the leg. And you may even have to ease forward and kind of crawl into that position to find the backside stretch. You may need more weight over that leg. All kind of depends on where you are in this position. Breathe and relax. Let's try our box breathing in this position. So 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. Hold. 5 seconds in. Hold. 5 seconds out. Hold. Remember, we're using our breath now to kind of convince your nervous system that everything's all right, even though this feels like a threat. We have to convince our body that we're okay. We're actually trying to do this. George, are you able to find the stretch? Fantastic. And hips are okay in these positions? Good. Patty, everything okay? Good. So we're almost coming up on the end of this 2-minute stretch. So what I want to do now is remind you of the wonderful work that you're going to be doing in your Pails and Rails. So in your Pails, we're crushing down into the floor, big toe, Achilles, calf, quad, everything, spilling that tension through the whole body. On our rails, we're pulling deeper. We're trying to go as far forward as we can, pulling the front of the foot to the shin, popping the balloon, okay? So we're going to start our Pails. 20% pushing down. 40, 60, 80, the greatest, safest effort. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rails, pull. Pull from the front of that shin. Feel that shin, all those shin muscles, your anterior tib pulling. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax into that stretch. Remember, if you've gotten more range of motion, then I want you to explore that range of motion. I want you to try to get as far into it as you can. I don't want you to lose the fun of the position that you just worked so hard for. I am creatively trying to use a second angle to capture more information. Okay, so we're going to go for our second set here. Make sure you're all the way at your end range. You never came out of it. Pushing down, Pails, 20 to 40 to 60 to 80. And your greatest, safest effort. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails, pull, pull all the way till your heel wants to come up, but don't let it come up. Squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly relax into that stretch. Back off of that. We're going to come down And relax for just a moment. Okay, so remember your next thing. You will need a pot, a pan, or the one right after this. We'll need a pot, a pan, something that you can elevate yourself up onto, a step of some sort, okay? So if you need to run and grab that now, make sure you've got something. What I'm looking for is something you can do a calf stretch on. So for the purpose of demonstration, I'm gonna use the wall here, big calf stretch, okay? What we're looking for is maximal dorsiflexion that we just worked through. What we're going to do is we're going to calf raise all the way up, and then we're going to keep the squeeze on our calves as we slowly, all the way down, keep squeezing through the calves the whole time, all the way through the biggest stretch. We'll calf raise back up, squeeze through those calves, push big toes to the floor as we use gravity to slowly let gravity win into that bigger stretch, okay? So this is going to be called, this is called the eccentric neural grooving, but ultimately what we're doing is trying to give you the best opportunity to build strength and resilient tissue all the way down. Patty, you're not going to stand on those, are you?
I was just trying to figure out. Just do it this way?
No,
I just don't want you to
like-
fall off of there.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Just use the staircase that's right there. So that first stair works perfectly. Got something? Awesome. Okay, so this big stretch, you want to keep that tension in your calves as hard as you can the whole way down. All right, this is going to be tough. We're going to do 5 reps. I want you to take 5 seconds to get all the way to the bottom. Okay, so as we do this, remember, you are trying to plantar flex as hard as you can. Squeeze your calf, try to cramp your calf. Gravity is going to be slowly pulling you into dorsiflexion as you come down closer to the floor, okay? So let's get into that position. We're doing 5 reps, 5 seconds. So use the wall, you can shift your weight, you can even kind of use the railing to get up into a nice big calf stretch or calf cramp, basically. Ready? We're going to start to head down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go ahead and step. Make sure you've got some of that tension off. Come all the way back up to that nice big high calf raise. Cramp those calves. Coming down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to get all the way to the bottom. Raise back up. Relax that tension. Cramp those calves. That was number 2. 2, 3, 4, 5. Back up. Back down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. Up, down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Step off for just a second. Relax. Shake that out.
Yeah, that hurts.
Yeah. As long as it remains a good hurt, I'm happy.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to do that one more time. All right, 5 reps. And if this ends up being too light for you, like if there's just not enough, like your calves are strong, essentially, I'm going to grab a 15-pound dumbbell, because that's what I got close to me. And so I'm going to make sure that I've got the dumbbell ready for me. I'm going to come up to the top of my calves. You have to bend down to grab it. I'm going to come up to the top of my calf raise. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm using that load to make that eccentric, that lowering portion, 15 pounds worse. Okay, so ready? We're going to go up. Let's go up to the top of our calf raise. And we're taking 5 seconds to get down. 2, 3, 4, 5. All the way up. 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up. As we do this, try not to let the toes rotate. Try not to spin out, spin in. We're trying to stay as close to neutral as we can. 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm tilting back off of my step. Last one, all the way up. Down. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Okay. So I apologize. I lied. I have one last thing for you to do. So that same method that we just used, the eccentric neural grooving, the idea that the force, we're maintaining tension in the tissue, we're going to do that through an ankle rotation exercise. What you're going to do is you're going to take, so I'm doing my left foot, I'm going to take my right hand, okay? I am going to, sorry, camera. I am going to take my hand, I'm going to grab the outside of my foot. I am squeezing all of the tissue on the outside of my ankle, and I am pulling all the way until I get to the end. I'm going to relax everything. I'm going to bring my foot back with my hand to that position. I'm going to put that tissue on tension again, trying to pull like my pinky toe up, and then I'm going to pull. And I'm going to slowly let the bicep win. Okay. We're going to do that 1 round, 5 reps each side. And if your hip cramps, you just have to step it out for a second. Okay. Big deep breath. Let's grab that thigh, grab that foot, squeeze, try to shorten all of this stuff on the outside of your ankle. Grab the outside of your foot. Ready? Bicep curl that foot. 3, 4, 5. Oh, again, ready? Big deep breath, trap that air, radiate that tension, pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready? Big deep breath, trap that air, radiate that tension and pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Whew. Last one. Big deep breath, trap that air, radiate that tension and pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Excuse the nose rub. Let's go again, other side. 5 reps, and then we are done. So remember, get all of this stuff on tension, pull that nice and tight, try to get pinky toe up, grab across, big deep breath, radiate that tension, start to pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Try to hit that end range if you can. Relax, big deep breath, pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Big deep breath, pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 2, pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 1. Big deep breath, squeeze, radiate that tension, pull. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, never did an ankle workout feel like such a total body workout. Okay, we're going to finish with ankle cars, just taking that same intentional rotation. Actually, let's do it this way. So left leg is bent, right leg is resting on the foot, and your quad is close to locked out. Point that toe, pull to big toe side, all the way up to pinky toe, and out. So if you feel more comfortable doing it the other way, that's totally fine. While you're doing this, we're just going to breathe. This is going to be kind of our wind down. Nice and creaky, cracky, poppy, snap, crackle, pop. So what you're going to want to do over the course of the next couple days, so we're going to take that right leg, bend it, straighten the left leg, is because your plantar fascia is in the tissue on the bottom of your feet, the connective tissue, your calves, your shins might all be very, very sore after everything we did today. So what you're going to want to do is replicate some of the stretches that we did. Make sure to be in there for 2 minutes. You will only do pails, and you will only do it at around, let's say, at an absolute maximum 20%. So dial back, get into the stretch that we just the same stretches that we did today, and do those just the gentle pails, and that will help to tune down some of the soreness. And again, remind your body that this is something you asked for. And then I can't stress this part enough. Move. Try not to sit still the rest of the day. Try to move your feet around. If your plantar fascia is irritated, then that would be the toes up, and just do like a really gentle stretch. So what I mean by that is if you're starting to feel pain right here, just at the base of your foot, like just before your heel, if you're feeling that kind of issue, the toes up stretch, this guy could be really nice for you. Just pulling into that stretch and then pushing into your big toe, or pushing your big toe into your hands. That'll help to, again, downregulate some of the irritation and the alarm bells that are happening at the bottom of the foot. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. This ankle class was specifically by request from Christy, who I think had to hop off, and then one other person who unfortunately was not able to make it today. But I appreciate you guys going through this. There is a shoulder class, a continuing of the shoulder series on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Again, available both in person in Chicago and virtually. And then if there's other joints that you guys would like to specifically focus on for this Thursday, we can start a 6-week series and continue to explore and expand. We can continue with shoulders. We can even continue with ankles if everybody enjoyed it, because there's still a lot of ankle stuff we can do. So you can always shoot me a text or an email and let me know what you'd like to see more of, because this is your class. That you guys are the ones who come to this one most regularly. So this is your class. If there's a specific area you want to focus on, let me know. Cool.
Okay, thank you.